A franquia Como Treinar o Seu Dragão está de volta aos cinemas, mas dessa vez com atores reais em formato live action. Com a direção de Jim DeBois, o mesmo que dirigiu todas as animações, o live action conta a mesma história, mas com alguns detalhes novos e mais aprofundados. Eu conversei com o diretor e os atores Gerard Butler, que dublava o personagem estoico e agora interpreta ele em carne e osso, além de Mason Thames, o Soluço, e Nicole Parker, a Astrid. Confira!
We're all descendants of the finest dragon fighters from everywhere the Vikings ever traveled.
Mason, you are a similar age to Hiccup in the film, living through this defining moment of adolescence with the whole search for identity.
Yeah.
Helped you to identify more with the character?
Yeah. I mean, when we filmed, I was 15, just turned 16. But you know, in that time, it really is a weird time. You know, where you don't really know who you are, and you're trying to find yourself. And I feel like playing Hiccup in that moment, you know, was really meaningful to me and really important because, you know, Hiccup really just, he wants to find out who he is, and once he, you know, finds out, you know, he's not like everybody else, that he's different, and he accepts that, and, you know, it's what makes him so special. So Hiccup is a very important character to me, and, you know, I'm very glad that, you know, so many people love Hiccup so much because of that message and how they can help him and how he's helped me, so.
Nicole, in the movie we see a much braver and more adventurous Astrid, and we see that the character's desires change throughout the movie.
Yeah.
At the end of this journey, what would you say is Astrid's greatest ambition in this live action?
I think that there's a comfort in acceptance and accepting who you are, and that you don't always need to strive to be better, that actually it's really brilliant to just embrace and accept who you are and what you can bring. And so I like the fact that, to me at least, she feels by the end like a much more comfortable and well-rounded version of herself, whereas in the beginning a kind of like that striving feels like it comes from a place of determination that isn't always, you know, kind to oneself.
What made it worth embracing the opportunity to play Astrid?
Oh my God, I mean, I couldn't not embrace the opportunity to play Astrid. My 8-year-old self would have killed me. I think it is truly, and we've said it before, but I do think that for me and Mason, it very much was kind of like a chance to get to play your childhood heroes.
And do cartwheels.
And do cartwheels all the time. But I think it really was like a special, it was a really, you know, you can't not embrace it, because I think when you're there and you're in the costume and you're on set and you're getting to be this person that you idolize yourself, it just feels kind of full circle in a way that is incredibly lucky and feels like a true gift. So I just was kind of going into it, I definitely had my younger self in mind all the time. Yeah.
And I have to ask you both, what was your favorite scene to film?
Mine changes all the time.
It does change.
Changes
It depends on my mood.
But today's favorite scene to film would probably be, we were in the kind of like library scene at one point. It was a really small set, and we were there for days, and it was quite hot, and we were all going a bit mad, but it was just so funny. And it just like, I think there's some of it that just won't be in there, but there's like Harry reacting to the
so
thunder
good,
makes me
so
laugh.
good. Today mine is Test Drive. It always comes back, but I just love it because as a kid, you know, watching that scene and it was just so sick and so cool, and you know, the fact I got to do that, and you know, we get to do it, you know, for real is so cool to me.
Gerard, my first question for you is, how did it feel to first put on the costume of a character you voiced for so many years?
We were just talking about that as you walked in, because he reminded me that the costume was the most amazing costume I've ever worn in my life. It was a nightmare. And he was reminding me at the end of the day, I'm like, get this thing off of me. But when I put it on, I completely transformed. I wasn't me anymore. I was stoic and stepped into this incredible world that we built. And I was in How to Train Your Dragon, and I was the chieftain, and I was a father, and I was looking after my tribe, and it was incredible.
You were very tall that time.
I was very tall and very white. I was very heavy.
Dean, I heard that in order to produce this movie, you were against making a copy of the animation. What is behind this vision of wanting to bring a new identity to the remakes?
Well, I think we adopted the philosophy of let's keep what worked really well, which so many aspects of the story worked very well, but we also had opportunities to embellish and to go deeper, a richer history of the Vikings, expanding the mythology, going deeper with the characters and the relationships with Stoic and Hiccup and Astrid, giving her more backstory. And then in the moments of action, we thought we could make it even more immersive and more kinetic. So those were the embellishments that we tried to bring to it, and never with the attitude of replacing the animated movie. I love that there are fans of the animated films, I'm very proud of them, but I wanted this to stand apart from it and still be part of that same world.
Yeah. And Jared, considering that we have adults, parents watching this movie with their children around the world, for you, what is the most valuable part of this relationship between Stoic and Hiccup in the live action, even though it's a complicated relationship sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the message that I would take out of it, or for a parent, is learning to see the uniqueness of your own child. So to have more empathy, more compassion, in terms of, it's not like you don't have to teach your child and educate your child, but being willing to step aside and say, maybe they're not me, and maybe they have other things to offer the world, and that might not be what I expected, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be embraced and validated. So I think that's a powerful message in this film.
And Jared, was your first option to play Stoic?
Yes,
No,
of course.
He asked everybody else. What do you think he's going to say? Of course I will.
Of course, he was the first thought that we could bring Jared back as Stoic. But the heartbreaking part was he was not available. He had he had 3 different movies back to back, and so the casting director came back and said he's just not available. But then an actor's strike happened in 2023, and so it made a bunch of projects shift in their production schedules, and there was suddenly a moment where Jared was going to be available for a short period, and we made it work. So of course that was like the best thing that could happen for us.
He actually sent me a text saying, I'm so sorry, we tried again, you're not available. And I looked and went, wait, because something had just happened 2 hours earlier that had made me available in a small space. And I sent him a text straight back, wait, when are you talking about, Dean? Because this might actually be possible. But it meant that I went movie. It was a very intense period of my life.
Yeah, he didn't get a break for a long time.
But I wasn't missing this for the world. I wasn't. I knew this was kind of a bit of my destiny to carry on Stoic fast.